Hola, soy la profesora Clark, and today we are going to talk about possession and ownership in Spanish. To begin, there are three ways to express possession and or ownership in Spanish. The first one is one that we've seen before, and that is to use ser de. The second one is using tener, and we've seen tener used with age, but now we're going to talk about possession as well. And a new concept, which is possessive adjectives. All three of these can be used in concert together, one at a time, two at a time, three at a time, because they all function in different ways. To begin, we have ser de. Ser is one of three verbs in Spanish that means to be, and it has an irregular conjugation, and it has a variety of uses and meanings, including to express ownership. When we combine the verb ser with the preposition de, it can express origin, makeup, and for this lesson, ownership. So we use ser de for origin, and you've seen this question and answer before, de donde eres? And you answer, soy de Chicago, and that is for origin. When we use de with ser, and we are talking about the material makeup of something, like for example, enchiladas, de que son los enchiladas, las enchiladas son de pollo. So basically, they're describing what something is made of. The same grammar describes what something is made of. If we attach a person and an object, we can use ser de to describe ownership. And you see the grammar is similar from origin to material makeup to ownership, but what changes are the nouns. ¿De quién es el libro? El libro es de Elena. Now, the translation for this is that the book is Elena's. In English, you're going to see an apostrophe S right there. But literally, the sentence El libro es de Elena means the book is from Elena. Or, more importantly, Elena owns the book. Again, ¿de quién son los libros? Los libros son de Elena. And los libros agrees with son. And they're talking about Elena owning more than one book. Literally, the books are from Elena, and that is why books and are and libros and son agree. And the connotation is that Elena owns the books, owns more than one book. What I need to make clear to you all right now is that there is absolutely no apostrophe S in Spanish at all, ever. So when you're reading the following sentence, keep in mind the literal representation below. El libro es de Elena, meaning the book is Elena's. That's what you mean to say, but that is not how it literally translates. It literally translates, the book is from Elena. And keep that in mind. Apostrophe S will never appear in Spanish in any way, shape, or form. Moving right along, we have tener. Tener is one of three ways in Spanish to express possession, and I like to call it current possession. It has a variety of uses and meanings. We've used it for age, and we've also used it for ¿Qué tienes en tu mochila? And so we have here, ¿Qué tiene usted? Tiene una pluma. Tengo una pluma, ¿Qué tienes en tu mochila? Tengo unos libros y un cuaderno en mi mochila. Using tener can indicate current possession, and it can also indicate ownership, depending on the context. If I say, tengo una pluma, if I take the answer from here and I say, tengo una pluma, that literally means I have a pen. But there may be a question as to whether or not I own the pen that I have. Okay? Tengo unos libros y un cuaderno en mi mochila. I have some books and a notebook in my backpack. I may or may not own the books and notebook that I have in my backpack. So tener is very much a current state of possession. And it's also may not be indicative of whether I own the things I currently have. In order to talk about possession and ownership and true ownership, we use possessive adjectives along with ser, de, and tener. Possessive adjectives are just that. They actually go in front of the noun they modify, and they agree in number in these cases, and also in this last case, which I have not there, when we are talking about ownership for él and ella and usted, and also ellos and ellas and ustedes, we use su plus a singular noun, or we use sus plus a plural noun. And that will be on your notes, but it didn't appear on the video, so I apologize for that. So we have su and sus that agree only in number for these subjects, él, ella, usted, ellos, ellas, ustedes, yo, and tú. And then when we get to nosotros and nosotras and vosotros and vosotras, these possessive adjectives also consider gender. And again, you match the gender to the noun that it precedes. So vuestro goes in front of a singular masculine noun, vuestra goes in front of a singular feminine noun, vuestros goes in front of a plural masculine noun, and vuestras goes in front of plural feminine nouns. Keep that in mind when you are talking about ownership of more than one thing. For example, if I have libro and I want to relate libro to nosotros, it's going to turn into nuestros libros. Okay? And then I can add a verb, son rojos. Okay? If I also want to talk about the fact that maybe all of us own one book, I can say nuestro libro es rojo, because a group can own one item. And remember, these two are the ones that agree. When I'm using possessive adjectives, this also refers to a group, nosotros, but it also modifies a noun, libros. So you have to keep in mind that it does double duty. It refers to a person or a group owning a noun or nouns. But just keep in mind this basic grammar. Me goes in front of a singular noun, mis goes in front of plural nouns. Yo can own one thing, yo can own more than one thing. Tú can own one thing, tú can own more than one thing, and etc. And when you get into él, ella, usted, as it says on your handout, ownership for these is either going to be su or sus, regardless of whether the subject is singular or plural. For example, if I want to say the girls have their book, I'm going to say las chicas tienen su libro. Even though it's las chicas and it's tienen, these all agree. Because this is an adjective, describes one book that they all have, it has to be su libro. If I'm also describing the fact that maybe usted, you, formally, have a book, I can say usted tiene su libro. Again, usted can own one book, but if usted has more than one book, it's going to be usted tiene sus libros. So keep in mind, when you are using possessive adjectives, they are just that, adjectives. And very much like numerical adjectives, they go before the noun, and descriptive adjectives go after the noun. And we use them in concert with tener and sometimes even with ser de. Again, if you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks for tuning in, and ciao. Adios.